All right, so it's 8 o'clock in the morning. We've got a long day ahead of us, so I thought I'd get the session in because later on it's probably going to be too hard to get the session in. So what I've got planned today is I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to go for a bunch of runs. As long as my calves can carry me, I'm going to run. I'm going to do 600-meter runs, multiple sets, I hope. The calves, still the soleus is a little bit sore, like the Achilles area. You're still kind of sore. The shock absorber of the body is still sore. I'm a heavy dude trying to run. And trying to run after not running a long time. And so all of these shock absorber tendons in the lower part of the body, lower part of the leg, there's going to be a bit of a acclimatization period for sure. But I'm really excited about the running. What I'm curious to see is, can I reproduce that feeling in the squat every single time after I run? If that's the case, that is so exciting. And it just makes me think that the more I get acclimatized to running, the better the feeling is going to be. Because all of these structures which are involved seem to be carrying over really well to the squat. Last night I'm sitting there on the couch, I'm thinking to myself, could the jog or running be the best accessory to squats? Imagine that. That would be really a really cool union between my basketball days and my barbell days. That would be really cool. Anyway, I'm gonna go for a little run. The first 600 is always really slow, so I'll do that and I'll come back and then we'll see how we go. Last time I did four lots of 600, and I reckon the second and the third were the fastest. That was really, I think the third was the fastest. I pushed out quite hard. When I say quite hard, I'm still a shit runner. I feel like a tank. I don't feel, like I used to feel back in the day when I was running. Anyway, let me get to it. So that felt terrible. Oh my goodness. The first 100, 200 meters, ankles were broken, calves are short, hips. You can literally feel the cobwebs falling off. Weightlifting is a very tightness-inducing endeavor. And running, you need to be kind of loose in the hips. You need to be able to have some sort of gait, some sort of stride. I think this is where these two things merge really well. Is that, I just thought to myself, maybe the anterior pelvic tilt is resolved by running. Because if you think about it, you're throwing your leg back each time. And hip flexor needs to let go. Otherwise, you have these little short freaking strides, which are not gonna help you at all. So, maybe that's the function of why the second and the third run feels better. It's just simply because the hip flexors let go a little bit. Very interesting stuff. That was really slow. I felt like I was half walking there. Very, very slow. But towards the last 100 meters, I felt like I could run properly. So right now, it's not even about the breathing, man. It's about the lower extremities. To be honest, I didn't even warm up or anything. I just literally walked out here and started running. Probably not the greatest idea. Probably the best thing is to walk for a little while and then run. But I just went straight into it and it's wow. Very tight legs. This is the thing about squatting heavy weight, man. You need to be at certain muscle lengths in order for you to squat 240 kilos, right? Running is about almost like the opposite. The percentage of your 1 rep max in a run is tiny. And so that endurance, nature, adaptation of the body is a lot different to 1 rep max, completely different. So I reckon if you mix the two, then you have some sort of a balancing between the two. Obviously, you're gonna have to kind of play with the dosages of both. For somebody that, lifts weights as often as me, probably 1 run a week would go so far just to get rid of that tension to the hip. And the shock absorbers of my body, man, they don't shock absorb. They just literally never asked to do that. So, and as we know, the tendons and ligaments and all that stuff, that takes a while to change and remodel, and probably takes a little bit even longer when you're in your mid-30s as well, the remodeling. But ever since the first run on Monday, I've felt better ankle mobility, which is interesting, isn't it? No amount of calf raises will be able to do the soreness that I felt in my soleus. It's just a shock absorption galore. Anyway, let me catch my breath here and then I'll go again. Well, that round went much better. But halfway through, the left soleus, the inner part of my calf, bottom calf, started really hurting, like the wrong type of hurt, like sharp, tearing type of pain. This is not the sensation that you want in anything. So I have to stop. I started changing my gait halfway through. Breathing is no problem, I can run. But like I said, it's that bottom, below the knee stuff that's really bothering. So I have to stop here. That's 2 runs. I started heel striking, thinking that it will go away, but it didn't. So if I kept going, I think this might end up being a pulled calf. The right one is okay, it's just the left one. And just right on the inside of it. Oh yeah, that hurts. It is what it is. Let me do some squats and then I'll finish off with the adductors and we'll go from there. I thought I had 5-6 runs in me today. Breathing is okay, it's just the ankles and the calves. Yeah, the squats felt really good again. Absolutely. Just smooth like butter, upright, strong. Felt really good. Obviously, I'm fatigued from yesterday, from the deadlift session and the back and all that stuff, so I'm not going to be feeling top, but still, it felt great. You know, there's some days where you feel really strong, but the squat is just out of rhythm and out of your hitting zone. It just feels like you're disadvantaged because of positioning and whatever. Today, I felt like I, used everything that was available to me, so I maximized the strength that I had today. So the conclusion is it felt really good. And so this is pretty much every single time I've done this. Even in the past, I thought it was something different, but now it's becoming very clear that when you run before you squat, it just feels great. Probably not the greatest idea to do that before a maxing day. You don't want to do that. But in terms of just like getting, work in and practicing your lift, I think it's fantastic. Doing it afterwards, probably also beneficial, but like for that warm up, man, it's absolutely beautiful. It really puts you into that nice groove in the squats. However, I've done something to my calf now. It's not like it's the medial soleus that really hurts now. It hurts to touch. It hurts to walk. I've got a bit of a limp now, actually. I've cooled down a little bit, and it's clear to me that I've done something. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like I don't know if it's a strain or probably a strain. I don't know. What that tells me is that I'm just very heavy for my feet and for my calves. When you don't run, when you don't play sports, and you just build knee up for a long period of time, this is going to be the reality. You're not going to be feeling very strong. So I really hope this doesn't screw me over. On Monday when I ran, I was sore in the calves, in the soleus, pretty much the entire week. I was mildly sore this morning. The first run, the first 600, was kind of like I just felt stiff all over. But the second run, the start of the second run, I was like, all right, I'm loosened up now, and I started to like push the pace a little bit. And then halfway through, 3/4 of the way through of the second run, I was like, oh God, what is that? Sharp pain to the medial soleus.
And then I tried to change the gait to something a little bit different, maybe like, midfoot or even heel striking. That kind of felt a little bit better. By the time I got home, I was like, all right, this is really freaking bothering me. Even walking around is trouble. So, man, this has happened to me before. I remember a couple of years ago when I was running on the treadmill at the gym before, working out. And I do have to say, running on the treadmill and running on the road is completely different. Much more beneficial for I guess, for squat purposes to run outside. I don't know what it is about the treadmill, but it wasn't the same effect. Running outside is different and is better. But when I was running on the treadmill, I did a few weeks probably with the running damn near every day, like a kilometer or two before I started training. And then one day at the gym, I did the squat workout, went back, and I wanted to kind of finish off with some sprints on the treadmill. And I was doing a sprint, and then I just felt a sharp, like somebody stabbed me right in between the gastrocnemius and the soleus, like that little tine, just where the belly finishes of the gastroc. Sharp pain. My first reaction was, damn, I think I've torn my calf. I mean, I probably did tear my calf, but like my feeling was the Achilles freaking came off the bone, man. Obviously the Achilles is way down, but I just thought it was like a tear halfway through or something. I was sore for weeks after that, and I was limping around for a little while. This kind of feels similar, but just different spot, like really on the inside of my leg. Weird. Probably that's dictated by the shoe that I'm wearing. I was wearing Jordans today when I was running, but back then when I was running, I think I was running the Vivo Barefeet shoes. Oh man, I kept saying to myself, I gotta take it slow. I ran 4 lots of 600 on Monday. I come in on the Saturday, I'm like, I'll just run and see how I go. Oh my God, after the second run, I do myself in. Unreal, man. Unreal how slow I have to take this. And I keep making the same mistakes, man. Jesus Christ. Why am I doing this? Anyway. Let's see what happens tomorrow and in the next few days. Appreciate you, fellas. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.